Welcome back, partygoers, to the Lucky Die. Previously, Laffian gives something very important to Talus, Rhal prays to Zaltanna, Squash introduces Talus to Strife Mallet, and Zaltanna gives the best advice. Hanging out to celebrate Talus's 8th birthday, Caden confesses that he isn't coping. After the team promises to help him, Zaltanna then discovers her new herald in the form of Elise. Meanwhile, Damas hands over a very important spell to Squash before the heroes take a potion to reveal their true names. How many cards is Talus making? Would Damas really kill Gruumsh? And with whom will our heroes share their true names? I guess you're about to find out. Welcome back to the Lucky Die.
You find yourself on a mountain. This mountain is very familiar to you. You've climbed this a good few times. This is the very dangerous, very steep way up to the Temple of the Triad. Next to you, helping you figure out where to put your foot, even though you actually yourself already know what you're doing, is Benno. And the pair of you begin scaling this mountain, one step, one pull, one footfall at a time. He turns to you and he says, "Can I ask you a question?"
No, goodbye. No, just kidding. Yeah, of course.
In the double ones, you had a nickname, right?
Yeah.
They called you the Hook, right?
They did, yeah.
How did you get that name?
I got that name because I had a mean right hook.
He sort of like bumps his head to one side as if like, he gets it, he's seen you in action getting this far. And he says, "Do you think you're done with that name?"
I mean, I still have a mean right hook, but I don't really use it in the way that got me that nickname anymore, so I guess so. Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever go back to using that?
Not in the way I used to. I guess like if I don't know, like if my worshippers wanted to like refer to me as the Hook, I guess they could do that, but I wouldn't be, you know, I don't feel like I'd ever go back to using it the way that I originally did.
To me, at least, you'll always be my little sister. That's how I always think of you. That's how I always will, I think. No matter how big of a god or a goddess you become, you'll always be my little sister.
Good. You're right, I always will be a little sister.
As you find yourself halfway up this mountain, you find that kind of plateau that the Temple of the Triad itself is upon. It's now broken up and parts of it are floating in the air, not necessarily connected. You can see the places where the snow used to fall is in fact just burning lava now. Nothing is quite how you remember it. And as you pull yourself up onto this flat and you look up at the top of the mountain, you realise that Benno has changed into Talus. She stands next to you, 18 years old. She has a braid that you used to sport. And she smiles at you and she says, "Okay, so race you to the top?"
You know, that's not really very fair. You got a lot longer legs than I do.
Okay. I guess we'll just climb it safely. Daddy always tells me off for trying to rush into things without thinking it through. And she kind of very carefully then begins to put her hand up on the side of the mountain into a perch and begin to drag herself upwards.
Zaltanna climbs a little bit fast, gets past her and goes, "Well, you thought I was serious?"
What? No, Auntie Anna, that's cheating. As she puts her hand in things, she keeps trying to keep up with you. Can you roll a d20, please?
10.
As you begin racing up the mountain and you leave Talus a little bit behind in the dust, you're probably about 3/4 of the way up by the time she catches up with you. She's become a little bit more sure of herself, and you notice that kind of very girly demeanor that she had, a very young demeanor, begins to disappear as she kind of begins to race up this mountain. And she kind of begins to overtake you as you get much higher up. And she looks down at you and she says, "Can I still call you Auntie Anna?
Yeah, of course you can.
Or am I supposed to call you Zaltanna now?"
I mean, you can call me Auntie Anna. I'll always be your Auntie Anna.
She smiles as she looks down at you. One hand is on the on that kind of flat at the top of the mountain where she's about to pull herself up, but she just looks down at you as you're struggling to keep up with her. And she says, "So, Anna, is this the name that Odette and I can call you?"
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. She pulls herself up and she offers an arm down to help pull you onto the top of the mountain. As you find yourself standing upright, the cold winds of the north are whipping all around you, and you recognize the scene in front of you. Talus has disappeared the moment you stand upright. And before you there is a ring comprised of tall stones. In the very center of this, you can see the altar that was on top of the mountain where you became a goddess in training. You can see Rhal and you can see Laffian with their hands on the altar, keeping at bay this large creature. You can see there is a portal between them, and they're both yelling and shouting at you to get into this portal before it's too late, and you can see that they're struggling to stay upright. What do you want to do?
Zaltanna, what are you doing? Get in! Quickly!
Ouch! Punch, punch, punch.
That's all you get out of Rhal, but you get the idea.
Just
somewhere. You're being told to get in there.
Rhal says ouch in a very specific way that communicates to me that he wants me to go into the portal. I get it. I see Rhal.
Mm-hmm. But it is, of course, entirely up to you if you want to help them continue fighting this or whether you just jump straight into the portal.
I'm gonna where's the north guy specifically?
So he's in front of the altar. You can see that Rhal and Laffian are kind of between him and the altar itself. They have one hand each firmly planted on this altar, and they're using a variety of tricks, punches, throwing bottles contained of elvish wine and trying to set shit on fire. They are doing their best to keep it at bay, but it is kind of in melee range. It's right in their face.
So let me ask you something. Do I have to go past this guy to get to the portal?
No, you could definitely run around the back of the altar and jump through the other way. You could definitely, you don't have to pass him.
Feasibly, would I be able, as I am very small and he is not, to do a slide under with my knife, up to cut him from below as I slide underneath him and then jump into the portal?
Fuck yes, roll a d20.
Much like, whatever the fuck his name is did in Sharknado. But his was a chainsaw with a shark, and mine is not that.
It's a knife with the wind of the north. Not quite the same ring to it, but pretty good.
14.
Yeah, so you go to do this amazing thing where you slide between his legs, you have the knife in your hand, and you feed it in bed into his flesh as you slide between his legs and pop up between your two friends. He looks decidedly unhappy and kind of bleeding all over the snow.
And I look back at Rhal and Laffian and I'm like, yo, you got this from here, right? I gave him a real freaking good cut. And then I jump into the portal.
Just fucking go!
Hurry!
I love you too! jumps into the portal.
The 2 part gets cut off because we have a 3-word limit on. Yeah, absolutely. As they yell at you or scream in pain and you tell them that you love them too, you manage to jump your way into this portal. You find yourself sitting in a familiar long hall. You've been here before. In front of you, there is Clemdal. She is sitting upright and she has in her hand the same scroll that you signed. And it is still filled with the celestial writing. And as you look at it, you actually realize, having now been to Geerta, that this is some astrological signs. And as you look at it and that idea solidifies in your head, you see something written in there that you couldn't read before. And she says, "So, welcome back."
Thank you. It's nice to see you again.
Not a lot of people say that. I appreciate it, thank you. So, I actually need to write your name into the stars. And yes, I can read basically everything, but I need to make sure I at least get it pronounced correctly for, when I pass on to followers, etc. What does this say here? And she puts her finger right next to the word that you can now read.
It says Vodeka,
And what does that mean?
warrior queen.
And with that, your eyes flick open. You are laying in the barracks. And as you kind of stir awake, you can see the sleeping forms of Rhal and Ama holding him. You can see Laffian and another figure sitting next to him. You see Squash. Well, mostly you see Demi and you see the outline of Squash against the flames. But sitting at the bottom of your bed, you see 2 familiar figures. You see Damaz half asleep sitting on his chair, and you see leaning against him, head resting on his shoulder, you recognize Ninverna.
Oh,
What do you want to do?
interesting.
FYI, this is real life.
Interesting. Okay.
Excuse me?
They're both asleep. The only 2 people awake are Ama, because you can kind of see her across the way, and Demi, but she seems to be somewhat busy.
I'm gonna look over at Ama and point to Ninverna and Damaz and be like, "Eh?"
Ama looks at you as she sees who you're pointing at, and she slowly shakes her head. She knows what you're intimating.
Oh no.
No, I don't think so.
It's a little soon for that.
Zaltanna immediately lowers her voice. She's like, "I don't think that we could wake them up if we tried, to be completely honest. I don't know why we're whispering."
What, she only just fell asleep. She was trying to stay awake to talk to you.
Oh, should I wake her up?
She seemed pretty busy, like she wanted to be in a hurry, but she couldn't wake you. We can't seem to wake any of them.
I'm gonna kind of go over and shake Ninverna.
As you do, Ninverna's eyes flash open. And as they kind of flick open as you're touching her, you can see that on the side of her neck there is what looks like a rune. And it's in the very stylized shape of a wolf's head, and it is glowing black and red.
Oh,
Sorry, black and crimson.
dope. Hey,
Yes.
you good? Amos said
Someone's V'ing at me.
Yeah, just for posterity's sake, Ninverna's an elf. Just sleep's not really.
Right.
Yeah.
Then in that case, she's kind of meditating, not paying attention, meditating, sleeping, whatever.
Just for posterity.
Well,
whatever.
Some elves can sleep. Yeah. But you in deep meditation, it's kind of like a sleep. You're still not really aware of what's going on. So anyway, continue forth. Thank you.
I'm like, "Hey, Ninverna, Amos said that you want to talk to me?"
Oh, yeah. I had some things to tell you. Can we, everyone seems kind of it's only Damaz. And she kind of nudges him, and he kind of jumps awake, and he seems to be getting his bearings. And Ninverna says, So, last I think I spoke to you. I told you I was tracking down the cult that, sent the shadows out. I think I might have found them.
Oh.
Where they're situated, I mean the base, where I think everything is happening. And, well, I know you said you'd help me, with the vengeance and guide me in that, but I also know that you're all super busy doing something. I just thought you'd also want to know what's happening. And she looks kind of flustered.
I appreciate that. I'm happy to help you with the vengeance. I can give you... I'm not sure if I can come with you, but I can try. Once everybody's awake, we can kind of figure it out.
Dagur said that he'd come with... I think I found them, and I managed to persuade some information out of them. There's a town called the Baranya, and I think some of the Blissful Eclipse cult is based there. Not on the surface, under the ground, I mean, below the forest. Dagur said he'd come help me check it out. I've learnt some tracking stuff from Talvin, but I'm not that strong on my own.
Okay, well...
You go ahead.
No, you.
Nope, you. You're the goddess.
As you goddess, I say you go first.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to keep you... I mean, we have to get back there, and that's going to be a couple of days, but do you want me to wait for you? I know that maybe Lafyan would find it strategically interesting, as Dagur has pointed out to me, that you guys might want to check it out. I could just, I guess, pray to you when we find out what's going on.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I guess we better head off. I'm going to wait to talk to Lafyan first. I haven't seen him in a while, so... And then we're probably going to leave. And, Dagur's just, nods in approval. He's kind of still waking up, figuring out what the fuck is going on, but he seems to be in agreement that they'll leave as soon as they can.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Maybe we could get a drink. I mean, are you tired? I mean, do you need to go back to sleep? Should we just...
Oh my God, no. I had enough sleep. You wanna... We can go get a drink.
Cool. With
get
that, I'm going to say the three of you go get some coffee. You 100% feel completely refreshed. You don't think you've been asleep more than 2 or 3 hours, but everything about you feels rested and at peace. Cool. Yay. That's one down. Woo. Okay. Who wants to go next?
Roll off.
All right.
I got it too.
That means that Casey's gonna just say me.
Go again.
Casey, ready?
I know. It's a callback to an older joke.
What?
Oh, because I always
12.
just do it, so I don't
Fight
care.
me, Neil.
Neil, you said a number, so you're next. Actually, you know what? That should be how we do this now, because no one ever wants to speak up. I think the person who went last should pick the next person.
All right, I love this method. Okay, Casey, select a victim. The next person to have their name revealed to them.
Neil. I pick
Okay.
Rhal.
Okay. Rhal.
2 12s on this. Fuck.
And that would be the highest roll you get all day, Aethel. But it won't matter because you're a reliable talent, you fuck. All right. Rhal. Actually, I'm actually going to take this from the point of view of Zaltanna. Strangely enough. As Zaltanna, you and Ninverna and Dagur kind of begin to make your way out of this so that you can go grab a drink and hang out or something. You notice that Rhal is beginning to struggle. He doesn't seem to be having a very good time in this dream that is happening. You can see that there is like a little bit of acid that's pouring out of his nose, but you can see that Ema is like busily like swiping it away, and she looks very concerned. As Rhal, you watching him, it's strange to see a Dragonborn sweat. But you can see that he is getting hotter, and then he's suddenly very cold, and then he's suddenly very hot, and then suddenly very cold. You can see the acid is beginning to pour out of his nose a lot faster than it was before. And Ema looks terrified. She looks over at the three of you, and then she looks at Tio. You see a flash of communication between the two of them. You don't know how, you don't know why, but Tio and Ema are talking. You see Tio nestle on Rhal's chest, and you see him kind of like nuzzling and licking and kind of maybe even sinking his fangs into Rhal. You can't see exactly. But you do hear Ema very quietly sing something to Rhal. She seems to be very carefully holding him to her chest and whispering and singing very quietly. Rhal, you feel warm. You feel like you're in a warm blanket being embraced very tightly. And it's dark. It's like you feel like you're lying in a bed and that Ema is holding you. You can smell her scent, you can smell sandalwood and basically Old Spice. You hear her singing very softly next to you in Draconic. Ahead of you, slowly beginning to glow a faint bluish-yellowish colour. Sorry, a bluish-whitish colour. You see the shape of a skeletal horse with large wings. And a head, which is kind of like Tio's, but far more angular, a little bit sharper. And then you slowly begin to open your eyes back in the real world. And you can feel Ema holding you. You can feel the weight of Tio on your chest. And you are back in the barracks.
Rhal hugs Ema, pats Tio a little bit, and tries to clear himself and get his breathing back to normal and calm down.
Are you okay?
I think so. Was it an attack?
I don't... Zaltanna, was that like... I don't think so. I don't think it was an attack. And she again, like, worriedly looks over at Zaltanna, and perhaps she's mistaken. She hasn't really seen that much in the way of attacks.
Actually, I should probably roll a check to see if it was or not.
Yeah, sure, go right ahead.
Okay, no, it wasn't. I rolled a 2.
Okay. Not an attack.
This is more blood than acid.
I know, I don't know what happened. And like you can feel Tio just like getting off of your chest, and he's just like curled up next to you now and seems to be happily sleeping.
We're all pets, Tio.
Did you learn anything? Do you remember what it was?
No, I can't remember.
Zaltanna, did it work for you? And like she looks over like really confused. Then why didn't it work for Rhal?
Maybe I just can't remember. Balance could look, maybe.
You do feel oddly very rested, Rhal.
No, I feel okay. I mean, better than the acid attack, at least.
If you feel rested, perhaps we could just get up for a little bit. I don't really like laying here in the dark.
Okay, yeah. We'll get up and go for a walk.
Okay. And we'll speak with Lathian when he wakes up.
Okay.
And she kind of like puts her arm around you as she kind of like gets up and like forces you up out of bed. She's not convinced that you're okay.
Yeah, Rhal gives her a hug because he knows that like she's really worried.
Yeah.
He feels bad.
And she just like very quietly whispers like, it's okay. It's okay, my beautiful moonshine. You're always going to be okay when I'm around. Okay?
Hugs.
She hugs back.
Aw.
All right. Neil, who is the next dreamer who should wake from his dream?
Roll off.
Neil? I swear to God! I peaked my meter so bad. It's just a flat line. I'm so sorry.
All right, Aethor, beat that.
All right.
I got a 5.
I got a 4.
No, that's cheating.
I got a 1, you sucker.
What the fuck?
Okay. Laffian. All right.
Rigged.
Let's see what we have for you.
For the audience, I intentionally rolled the D4 to go underneath Archer's 5, and then I rolled the 1 on D20.
Bullshit.
Oh. Okay. Arch.
Hi.
You find yourself in a familiar room. You've probably been to this room maybe twice in your entire life, but it was fairly recently. You find yourself in the room of the elderly Loxodon lady when you're in Geerta. It's a nice room. There's a meditation mat on the floor instead of a bed now. It is furnished pretty well. Everything in here is nice and well cared for and clearly very elaborate. You've made this room your own. You hear the sounds of movement on the other side of the bedroom door, like lots of people moving around and shuffling. As you open the door, you can see that the hallways are brightly lit now, with flames, both magical and psychic in origin. You can hear people talking in the dining room down the hallway, lots of excited voices in a variety of different languages, both old and young. Everything about this place has been repaired. You look down at your hands, and you can see that they are older now. Their skin is a little bit parched, or have advanced in years. As you look down, you realise that your back hurts a little. Everything is a little bit stiffer than it used to be. Where do you go from here?
He goes to where everybody else is. To the dining room.
Okay. You make your way over to the dining room, which for you would be off to the right and a little bit further down. You can see there are a lot of people here. There are many people from Kino and just as many people from Discora. You even see one of the Tingurin here, wanting to learn the different kind of magics that the rest of the world has to offer again. Everybody kind of stands up when you walk in, that little bit of respect for the headmaster. And then they all sit back down immediately and continue nomming on the food until it's gone.
He's gonna go find Kythea. Assumably, she's probably the one responsible for the food.
I will add that you are an elf and your skin appears old. Kythea is a tiefling.
How? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Wow, that really set the mood. Wait, why am I still here then? Fuck.
I guess you're about to find out.
Okay,
Okay, no, Aethor, stop.
you can't do that. You can't do that to me.
I don't know. I guess he just gets some food and sits down at a table.
Yeah. Like, it's fairly easy. The food is pretty good. There is a student that approaches. It's a halfling man, and he has like kind of like really dark hair and really bright eyes. And he just like comes along and like does the like half bow thing. He seems like really awkward. He doesn't really know what he's doing and trying to be polite as possible. And he says, sorry, sir, I don't mean to interrupt, but aren't you supposed to be teaching in the big building? And he kind of like gestures generally outside.
Sorry, I seem to be forgetting myself. Bit of a strange Yes, right.
Do you maybe want me to walk with you?
If you're offering, sure.
That was not the answer he was expecting. And yeah, he kind of like guides you outside. As you get to the kind of like the long hallway where the like double door exit is, you can see there are loads of like pegs that line both sides of this corridor. And he kind of like reaches to a peg nearby and puts on his jacket and stuff because he's trying to bundle up against the warmth. And he leads you outside. As you make your way to the rest of the town, your vision changes for just a brief moment, and you see all of Colford and Bayard, and you see the entire town. It has been mostly renovated. People are living here again. The snow is it is not as deep as it once was. The buildings have been repaired. You can even see the construction of a new building, much, much bigger, and it's kind of this big dome in the very center of it, an architectural masterpiece. And you just instinctively know that this is a new library. You can see that all the different buildings around are dedicated to various different crafts that are not usually studied. There is an entire building built for alchemy, and you can smell from here the concoctions that they are making. You can see off to one side that there is a very large hall where bards hone their craft. You can see there is another place filled with magic. And as you look off to the right, you see a very tall tower. And at the very top of that, you see a very similar construction as you did when you were in Geerta. You can see that there is basically a large telescope reaching and pointing out to the skies. And you see another building, a 2-story building. Its construction is the oldest of all the ones that is here. And you know this to be where you would teach your mystics, your psychics. And as you realize that, you find yourself suddenly standing in a classroom. There are desks and children of all ages, even some much, much older folks that you know, who are just trying to figure out what this psychic is about. You can feel the room is psychically protected from intrusions. Nobody will be able to listen in unless you deem them to. On the board behind you, on the slate board, there is written the name of your class. Finding your true name, a demonstration. The students are looking at you. What are you going to teach them?
I guess he'll just start teaching. Just grabs a piece of chalk with his mystic hand and just has it start writing on the board as he speaks, like he's dictating and like the hand is writing it as he's dictating. Now, for learning one's true name, there is some small matter of physical aspects of things. Alchemy is required. Need to have a potion brewed very specifically in a certain way that I had uncovered long ago, which we fortunately have a whole entire wing here of alchemists who are more than capable of doing it. I'm sure some of the students there would love to be able to make it. It's a rather bit of an interesting process as far as I understand, though it's beyond my capabilities currently. I could be an alchemist if I wanted to, temporarily. That's besides the point. Beyond that, a lot of it is looking at yourself, both as you were, as you are, and as you could be. True names are not a permanent thing per se. They can change with who you are, how you grow, how things change, how your life develops. And he just kind of pauses and then kind of realizes that this is his... Like, I'm gonna say he just starts going, wait a minute.
As you have that wait a minute realization, you notice that every single person in this class, they're not different races, they're not different people, they are all different parts of you. Some of them are fiercer in looks, some of them are much younger, some of them are way, way older, some of them have that love-struck look that you get when you look at Kythea. Some of them are very proud and some of them are very humbled. You just see these different aspects of yourself sitting in the classroom in front of you.
And this one is mine, I suppose. This is an experience. My true name. He turns around and just takes the chalk and starts writing for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he writes out Laffian and then underneath writes out the translation of Moonlord.
Mm-hmm.
And then seems to, tilt his head and think, what am I? He looks back at, all of himselves.
You see that all of yourselves they're gone. And all that is in front of you is Kythea sitting on a desk. And she just smiles at you.
He smiles back at her and... Who am I?
You're a lot of things. You're a teacher and you're a person I love most in this world. You have a good heart in there. And you're an investigator. You're all these things.
I have to figure out what that makes me.
If you believe your true name fluctuates, what are you right now?
Woefully underprepared, but that's besides the point, I think.
Right.
I think I'm a unifier.
As you turn and look back at the board, your mystic hand has written Unifier in Elvish next to Laffian. And with that, you can tell me later on what that may be, specifically in Elvish. We at least have the translation of your name.
Yep.
You wake up and you feel a warm presence on the bed next to you as you realize that Kythea is asleep and lying next to you. I'm going to say this has probably been maybe an hour or so after Rhal is awoken, after Zaltanna are awoken. So Rhal, you and Aima and Zaltanna and, oh my god, Nimverna and Damaz are just out of the room so that you can do what you need to do right now.
Good morning.
What? She kind of her eyes just dart open, she's a little bit, she's just been woken up. You've just said something very coherent to her. She's like, what? Morning. I think it might be kind of late. Hi.
Hi. How long have you been here?
I don't know. Damaz said you guys had only been asleep for an hour when I came in, and I think I just went straight to sleep.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have waken you up.
No, it's okay. I can sleep when you're gone. I know you have to leave soon.
Well, I don't know about soon, but something along that lines. There's a lot that we have to do.
All right. Did your potion work? And her eyes, she's you can see she's trying to keep her eyes open. She's forcibly trying to get awake.
It did. A very interesting experience.
From what Emil was telling me, everybody has this very strange dream. Sometimes it's coherent and sometimes it's just out there.
I remember it quite vividly. There was a lot of detail there, a lot of things that could be.
I don't know where the others are. Rhal and Aima and Zaltanna and everyone else seems to be gone. Do you want to maybe join them, or maybe you could join them and I'll join you when I wake up later.
Why don't we relax for the rest of the night anyways, and we'll catch up with them later. They're not going to miss me for a few hours.
Crash. Balance!
With that, I'm going to say that she kind of like rests her head like on your shoulder or like on your chest, and like probably within moments she's asleep again. She's a sleepy girl.
He like is gently like patting her head and like brushing her hair, and then he has like the mystic hand come out, and like all three.
Like, yeah, she's instantly asleep then, just like, nope, gone. Okay, we will leave you for now.
Yes, please. I need to figure out how to fucking.
Yeah, that gives you time to figure out the Elvish, and then we'll dub that in later. Yeah, we'll leave you to it, and then we'll go on to the last victim, Squash. You're laying on your back face up. You're wrapped in your father's tattered cloak. It's been patched many times over with a hole in one shoulder, though. You can hear the breathers far, far above you. You're underground, and you can't see very much at all. You're much, much, much younger. Unbidden, the memory of Dachin's cackle echoes as he let you go the first time. But that was a few years ago. You're maybe about on the precipice of being an adult. You can sense and almost see the shapes in the dark next to you. Sleeping either side of you, your Snurf-Beflin friends are resting peacefully, undisturbed by the sound of the breathers far above you in this cave. You remember it, and then you see it. A small Snurf-Beflin rushes past your hidden location and they're fleeing. You hear the sound of a skittering rock spider rushing in their direction. As it looms closer, you realise it might only be small, but it's using its rocky chitin to try and make itself sound bigger. Your companions are still asleep, but you can see this other Snurf-Beflin rushing away. But it's not quick enough to avoid the spider lunging at it. They scream, and your two companions wake up with a start, and they both look at you confused. What do you want to do?
How was I supposed to be on watch? Was I supposed to be awake? Was I supposed to be asleep?
I'm going to say you were probably supposed to be on watch, but even though you've lived underground for a really long time, you still haven't quite got the hang of being awake down here when you're supposed to be. Your natural circadian rhythms are still overtaking. And occasionally you just fall asleep on watch. They understand and accept that. But they look at you confused as if you should have been awake.
I think Squash is just holding the cloak real close to him, real tight to him. And I think he just says very quietly, "It's still out there."
You hear the sound of the Snurf-Beflin that got pounced, screaming and crying and asking for help, and your two companions just kind of get up. They grab you by the shoulder and kind of like drag you forward so you can see what's going on. And this is exactly how it happened too. We should help. No, we should flee. We outnumber it. There's always more. I'm not a coward. Well, neither am I. Well, I'm strong enough to take it out on my own, right now. Quicker than the rest of its nest, maybe? Well, what do you think? Well, I'm not going to run. Are we going to run? Squash? And you see that Crescent looks at you.
I think we can hide.
Just want to hide?
It's got him. It doesn't have to find us too.
I agree with Squash. I think we should just hide, maybe run. And you see that your other companion's like, no, you kidding? We could get out there right now. We're running out of time. If we don't do it, then we're left with no choices. And you see him looking at you, and he says, is this what you are? Is this what you are, Squash? Is that right? Are you just going to hide?
I can't see anything. It's so dark down here.
But we've got light. We could light it up for you. You don't need to do anything else, mate. Just...
It's out there. If we just hide, it'll go away.
As you blink, you see the disappointed look on your friends' faces. And as you open your eyes again, you're standing in empty shallows. The rune that was here when you were last here in this place is completely aflame. The people of Empty Shallows are looking at you. The cleric of the eclipse that was here before is just staring at the damage that has been wrought. You know that you've saved the world. Everything's fine now. There's no eclipse to worry about. There's no Daichin. Everything's fine. We won. And the cleric of the eclipse looks at you and she says, We thought he was saving us.
He's a liar.
Why didn't he take him with us? Were we not worthy?
He was never gonna take you with them. He was gonna consume you. Like a beast consumes its prey. You weren't his peers, his acolytes, or even his followers. You were just fuel for the flames.
You can see that there are, tears just running down her face, and she says, So... we were bad. We were wrong. So were there bad people in this?
There's a big difference between being wrong and being bad. He lied to you, like he lied to me. He tricked you like he tricked me. But unlike me, he didn't cut you guys loose. He didn't leave you to die. He kept feeding you lies and stringing you along.
From the back of the crowd, you hear, But you saved us from him, right? He's not coming back.
No, they're all gone. It's over now. And Empty Shallows can go back to being a town with no false...
So he saved us. Do you hear that? Squash saved us. Oh my God. Squash is a hero. And you see the entire crowd rush at you. They grab hold of you and they just kind of enclose you so there's no room to move. You couldn't, even if you wanted to. You find yourself very quickly thrust up upon their shoulders. And you then find yourself being kind of manhandled through your old home. Except everything in here is now very clean. Those floorboards that never got fixed when your father was alive are now squeak-free. You can see that there is a single bed in the corner. It's been very well made. You feel the cloak that was on your shoulders being pulled off and tossed aside, and you can see the cloak being trampled underfoot. There is a new cloak on you now. It is the kind of off-white, greyish cloak of protection that you now wear. You're dragged out of this place, and you find yourself standing in the garden once more. And in front of you is the old statue, the one of you, your mother, and Daichin. Except that Daichin has been destroyed, and there is a new figure standing in the background. It's of you, looking very tall and proud, your head upright. And you can see, as if perfectly framed, there's a shaft of light perfectly upon you, and you look very much like the hero. And one of them says, This is Squash. He's the hero. Isn't that right, Squash? Isn't that what you are now?
I look down at my hands. How long has it been since the Blissful Eclipse fight at this time?
A few days, maybe.
I think Squash has just a little smile, a little coy. It's like, no, I was just in the right place at the right time. But I did help.
So this isn't you? You're not really a hero. You didn't really save us. Is that what you're saying? You're just like every one of us.
Well, I was there. I was there with Laffian and Zaltanna and Rhal. I mean, if you want to call them heroes, I guess I can kind of be a hero too.
You look down at your hands again. And everything seems to have shifted underneath you. Your hands are now covered in calluses and scars, and your hands are much older now. Maybe the latter part of your life, you're not really sure. But these are calluses and scars earned from honest day's work. Years of honest day's work. And as you look up and look around, you see that you're in a leatherworking workshop. You're standing behind what looks like the kind of till area. And as you look down, you can see that there is the crossbow of the Time Thief with 2 bolts next to it, ready to be loaded, and a small bag that you would treat as your go bag, your emergency get out of here now bag. But they're both covered in decades of dust, unused, unneeded. As you look around the shop, you can see that there are leather pieces of all types here, and you know instinctively that you or your apprentices have made them. There are drinking vessels lined with pitch, there are shields, blacksmith's gloves, eye patches, aprons, cloaks, satchels and bags. There's a pile of completed work off in the very far corner of your workshop, waiting for the artificers to put magic into them. Everything here is functional. There is a halfling woman, and she opens the door, and she's carrying, floating via magical means, a very large box filled with an assortment of leathers. So, I think I'm supposed to be here. Got a name on a slip of paper, so I might be in the wrong place. And she pushes the paper into your hands and taps the bottom. Is this you? Is that your name? Is this right? Aether, what name is written on the bottom of this slip?
I think he looks down at the paper and kind of reads across it, reading the mundane stuff first, knowing what is probably at the bottom. But as soon as he's made sure that the entire inventory is there, that everything he needs is there, that everything that they would need is there, he goes to the bottom where it says Don Connolly.
And with that, your eyes flick open into the real world. You can see that next to you is... You can see that there is a half-orc sitting on a chair next to you. You can see that there are a lot of small things that are floating in midair, being held up by magic. You can see that there is a large sheaf of paper which is being drawn and written upon. You see a lot of magical energies just manipulating things. You can see the half-orc is... They're not wearing armor, that kind of like under armor that should go underneath. And you can see that they are manipulating something in their hands and you can't quite see what it is. What do you want to do?
I think it just wants to lie there in silence for like a good extra 5-6 minutes. Thinking if he's, like, if his dream tells him he's Don Connolly, is he really worthy of his parents' name? Is he really worthy of that all? He's kind of just debating that over and over, and he always comes back to the same, like, well, it's what the dream said. It's like, but I don't, but it's what the dream said. And I think eventually he kind of turns over and looks at the half-orc.
They don't seem to be paying that much attention to you. But you can tell that they are intently working on whatever it is they're holding between their hands. And you can tell that other forces are manipulating things that are being written on a scroll.
What are you working on?
So I'm trying to figure out whether or not you currently have the power to do what you need to do, or whether that's going to come from, you know, becoming what you are when you go through to the stalking or not. And when you come back, well, I mean, you're going to be successful. So when you come back as that thing, I don't know if that's going to have enough power on its own. Maybe it does. I don't know 100% about it, but I think you might, some of the components to make the circles that everyone is standing in, from what I saw, at least from what Laffian remembers that he saw, I think they might have the power in the components to boost your magic. I'm not really sure. And the half-orc, they stare at you.
Don just sits up. That sounds very complicated and something that needs to be written down to be figured out.
Well, I'm trying not to write it down so much because I don't want this to fall in the wrong hands. I mean, of course, I'll burn it when I'm done, but I also need you to be able to read it. Does that make sense? And, like, you can see that the half-orc just turns and looks at you, like, squarely in the eye.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. You absolutely need to destroy any paper trail. You wouldn't want to leave that in the hands of the Blissful Eclipse.
No, exactly. That would be a very bad move. So did it work? And you can see that their eye goes red.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the world has decided what I'm called.
And you can see that like they put all the things down, and whatever it is that they were playing with is now just like put back on like the side. And she turns and looks at you, and she says, "That's not quite how that works, right? It's not what the world calls you. I mean, I think literally when we first met, you said that people call you Squash, and I said that's not your name. I think that's how I remember it. I kind of remember a lot of things out of order right now. But it's not what people call you, it's what you call yourself. What you think you are, or what you should be, I guess.
It feels bigger, you know? It feels bigger than just me.
Your name?
Yeah. Feels like it's... Your name isn't just you, it's how everybody else sees you. And if everybody else calls you Demi or Squash, that's how they see you. But your true name, it's something else, I guess. But your true name should encompass that too, I think. I'm not sure. I'm just waking up.
Well, at least you know it, and you can give it to someone you trust to maybe break you out of the Sentinel when that thing goes. So you should definitely do that at some point. In fact, all of you should, and no one was silly enough to tell me this, so that's really how that should stay. Can I try something with you? I kind of really want to gauge what your magic is. And she kind of has that thing where like her shoulders lift a little bit and her hands are up. She's like, eh.
Yeah. That's, what are you thinking? I'd prefer if it didn't hurt, at least this early in the morning.
Well, it is kind of still night, and it's not exactly gonna hurt. Well, it shouldn't hurt.
Squash is looking for the non-existent windows to the barracks.
Hey! All right, let me find out where I've put it. Okay, so, can you see magic? It's like a really important, like, level 1 skill.
Let me, see magic. Was that one of the things I have figured out? I think... Kinda? You mean to see, like, the auras and the kind of schools of magic, right?
Yes, that.
Yeah, I figured that one out. And Squash pulls up his sleeve and points at a rune, or like a set of runes that mean the detect magic spell.
Oh, do I wish I had enough time to figure out how... Well, okay, right. Okay, so you have, like, really basic things down. What about making things smaller and making things bigger?
Squash just kind of chuckles a little bit, just like, no. That's
okay. All right. Yes. And she kind of like smiles, and she kind of like jumps over to like the end of your bed. And as she does so, you see her move her hands in a very particular way, and you hear her whisper something very, very quietly. And what actually lands on the end of your bed is about a 3-foot version of a half-orc. As she casts Reduce on herself.
All right, now I need you to do a high-pitched Demi voice, please.
Actually, in fast forward.
Did Squash pick up the somatic or components of that?
Yes, I'm going to say that you could definitely pick that up.
Okay, I think Squash like hesitates as he was not expecting that one, and then just like, let me see, and then he's gonna try to mimic that. You say,
okay. That's a level 2 spell.
Yep, I have.
Enlarge Reduce is
I'm
great.
ramping them up one at a time.
Yeah, Enlarge Reduce. There we go. All right, I'm dragging that to my character sheet. Enlarge Reduce. And then I'm clicking on it. There we go. You cause a creature or object you can see within range to grow larger or smaller for the duration. Choose either a creature or an object that is neither worn nor carried. All right. So
So all you guys have to do to stop Squash being enlarged and reduced is carry him? Is this what I'm hearing?
That is true.
It's a good spell.
Yes, it is.
Throw that on Zaltanna. Beefy Zaltanna.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Zaltanna.
Oh, that is the
Zaltanna.
true Zaltanna. I think Squash casts Reduce on himself, too.
Wow.
When we came from small to tiny.
So you're like a foot tall.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know we had squash action figures. Oh, look, this is so cool. It even has voice lines.
Oh my god, it's really cool. It's like a squashling. And she just looks really excited.
No, I'm not there.
Put me down. Oh, I don't like this. This is terrifying.
It's so tiny. But you're really cute, like just like super small.
How do I stop this? I think
You just have to stop concentrating on it.
Yeah, Squash is going to drop the concentration.
Arch, don't tell them that I could pitch shift up and post.
Do it.
Don't pitch shift what I just did up.
No. You're doing great. Keep going.
You're the worst, Neil.
Thank you. I hate you, Neil. Future Neil, I hate you.
Make them chipmunks.
No. They did it themselves. I don't have to do it now.
Damn it.
Yes, you do.
Squash returns to his standard 3-foot size. Okay. This is very useful, and I'm assuming you just do it, and you just reverse kind of the secondary part of it.
Yep. So there's a particular hand movement. If you just do it the other way, then it just makes you go much taller than when you're much smaller.
Yeah. I could actually feel it when I was pulling the spell.
Okay. And you see that she also just stops concentrating, because if I do that, I'm going to kill my throat. Okay, so there's... I mean, I've written a lot about it in the book, and I'm just hoping that maybe you picked it up, but can you cast fire? Like a really big fire? Like, bamf, there's fire. Like, bamf, 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 big ass fire.
No. I have purposefully stayed away from the bigger explosionary spells. I'm afraid of... Yeah.
Of what?
Well...
Of fire?
No. If I fuck up light or tongues, I'm not going to be able to speak languages or see in the dark. But if I fuck up...
She kind of reaches over and puts her hand like next to you. Like, you can tell that she was going to try and like put her hand like on your shoulder or on like your knee or something, but she just puts the hand next to you and she says, "You can do it. Like, you already have a lot of mastery over magic, and you're just coming into the craft. If you wanted to, you could do this. I 100% believe that you'll be able to control whatever explosive, fiery, electrocution. You can do this. I mean, you've already mastered how to put runes on yourself without fucking it up, and you can just instantly duplicate what someone is doing, which is just so beyond anything I could do. You could do it.
It's just copying. Well, Squash looks around and well, I'm not doing it in here. That would be madness.
Come with me. And she just bounces off the bed and
Cast
she
haste.
rushes out into the corridor. No.
Squash is chasing after her.
She rushes out into the corridor and she screams up into the she kind of runs up into where the mirror room is, and she kind of stands at the door. And at this point, Laffian and Rhal and that, you can all see the pair of them are awake, and you just see her lifting her hands, and she just casts fireball in the center of this room.
What?
And there's just a huge fiery explosion, and as it basically disappears, and you feel that wave of heat overcoming you, nothing in this room is damaged.
Fuck.
Okay, and Squash is just trusting Demi in her manic state right now, and he's just
You got it.
Copying her right afterwards. So we got a fireball. This is not going to end well.
We're all watching this, just does not
Has
react
flashbacks?
one bit, just stops, has a slight nosebleed, and doesn't react. Just wipes his nose a little bit and
Boom.
turns his attention back to Ama.
Would you idiots be quiet? She's sleeping.
I didn't do it this
too
time.
late for that. 31 fire damage to the mirror room.
Oh, okay, cool. Good mirror room. Good. Actually, no damage takes place. And she kind of looks down at you and she like lifts her hand like above your head for like a high five.
Yeah. High five.
See, I told you. Very easy. Super easy. Like, you have a lot more control of this than you think you do. Don't worry about it. You've got it. The worst you'll do with a fire explosion is make more fire, and that's kind of the point of fireball, right?
Well, yeah, but you have friends in the area. You have people. You have to direct it correctly.
Yeah, Rhal.
It's you think it's so much art? It's so much more science than that.
Okay, science boy. Sure. I mean, it's an art form to me, and I know how to control most of it mostly. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at casting fire around my buddies, and most of them are pretty good at dodging that when I put it out now. So, yeah, that's the thing. All right, I have one more thing. I'm just going to keep testing your magic limits. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. She puts her hand out in front of you, and she's like, I kind of need you to take my hand on this one. Sorry.
Okay, sure. And Squash is gonna reach out his hand and do like a handshake.
How formal. She grabs your hand, and you see her just kind of blink, and you see her fingers just ripple, and you find yourself standing in the kind of main atrium, and you feel like a strange sensation like around your belly button area as you're kind of like pulled through the stalking momentarily, and you find yourself standing right next to the fountain, right in the middle of most of your buddies. Okay, so that's dimension door, but you can only really do it with people who are smaller than you, so give me a second. And then you see her shrink down to about 3 foot again. Okay, you'll go. Sorry. Oh my god, you'll go.
Okay. Let me try that one out. And Squash is gonna mimic and try to do what she did.
Dimension door, level 4.
Not happening.
I love Dimension Door.
So, Squash tries to pull on the threads. Squash tries to mimic the motions. But there's just not enough energy out there for him to fuel it. He can feel like he can feel like he's winding up like a spring, and it's getting really, really taut, and everything's going exactly right, but then it just kind of breaks in his hands, and he can just feel this kind of snap of magical energy run through his hand as it fails.
That's okay. It's okay. She kind of like puts her hands out, but like she doesn't like touch you or anything. So it's okay. I thought it might be a little more powerful for you, but it's okay. You'll get there.
Nah, that's too much. The air doesn't want to give it to me. It's
okay.
Holding on to it.
That's okay. That's fine. Now I know roughly where you are in like your process. Then I can also kind of like figure out whether or not how to get you the magic to do what you need to do. That's fine. You don't happen to have any like dragon's blood or anything, do you? Just happen to have it around.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
She looks like surprised.
We have dragon's blood when Rundra gave it to us. And I, for some reason, have it. And Squash goes into the bag of holding and gets out the dragon blood.
Why did he give that to us?
He said we needed it.
It didn't say a whole lot else.
Nope.
I just transcribed that. He didn't say a whole lot else other than you would probably need it or your warlock friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. Well, that solves that one problem. And as like she's saying that, you can see that she's like losing concentration on the spell, and she kind of like shoots back up to like 5'4", and she says, "Okay, no, that's great. I mean, even if you had like a small amount of magic, like you could probably cast it with this. That's great.
What?
I mean, you kind of need to be super careful with it. So maybe be careful where you put it in my. It's my bag of holding, right?" She kind of gives you that look.
It is your bag of holding. I am keeping it safe.
Yes, you are keeping it safe for Dana. Great, cool. All right, so everyone's awake? Hi.
Yeah, we kind of did that
Hey,
with the
guys.
explosion. Hey, guys. Sorry about that.
She's sleeping. Quiet.
I'm super sorry. I just got overexcited. Sorry.
Hold on. Let's step out of the room. Laughing like very gently, like lays Kythea down, covers her up with the blanket
Like-
and everything.
Yeah, she did wake up a minute and like, oh my god, there's an explosion. There's a second one.
No,
And then immediately just like,
It's okay.
oh,
It's
it's
okay.
those two idiots. Okay.
Not under attack this time. Go back to sleep. Okay. We step out of the barracks. Hi. Yes. What? Hello.
Hi.
So I take
Hi.
it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. My bad.
Oh no, I was awake the whole time. Well, not the whole time. I had my
So that went well?
very well.
You found out
Yeah.
where you are?
Yep.
Who you are? You found it out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And then I know that Squash did, and I'm pretty sure that I saw Dammers and Inverna say that, when they were chatting with Zaltanna, so that Zaltanna had found out her name.
Sorry, what?
Rhal, did you find out your name? Sorry, what?
Ninverna's here?
Yes. Inverna turned up it's kind of turned up like maybe an hour or so after, you guys took the potion.
Oh, I need to talk to her. Okay, that's good to know.
Yes. Definitely said she wanted to talk to you.
I can't imagine why.
So, Rhal?
Oh, about that,
What do you mean about that?
I don't remember.
How do you not
Raleigh scratches his head. Looks kind of embarrassed.
Affian pinches the bridge of his nose and is
Wasn't the point
Wait,
of the
that
potion
shouldn't-
that we wouldn't forget?
Well, actually, no, the potion just reveals to you your true name, either how you see it or how you know it or whatever. It basically assigns syllables to your core. You don't remember anything, Rhal? At all?
No, I didn't have an acid attack, but apparently it wasn't a very good dream. It used to happen a lot more. I just don't remember them.
that's kind of a
Anyway, tells me I have a nightmare, and then that's that.
that's kind of a problem, Rhal.
I'm gonna have someone roll a d20.
Maybe you could look for it if you could remember my rememberies for me.
Your rememberies for you.
Yes.
You want me to find your rememberies? Do those grow on a tree within your mind, your rememberies?
Balance. I've been surprised with the magic trees. I've been surprised before with the
Yes,
trees.
we know how magic trees work when it comes to you, and
There's a whole graveyard of trees, and that's magic, so I would not be surprised.
maybe that's your true name, Rhal. You're just a tree. You're a dragon tree.
Oh, like that fairy
So-
tale.
No.
What fairy tale?
Move on, move on.
No. Oh, no.
Squash. Dragons are not wishes. We're not.
I just
I know
said
that's
move
a
on.
famous story, but no.
What story? I don't think I've heard the story.
We're not going over this right now.
Well, maybe I want to go. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I feel like we're probably getting sidetracked here. You said dream, and then you don't remember the dream, and this has happened fairly frequently for you?
Yeah, I mean, when Emma was around, I would hear about it. She would tell me I did not rest easy.
Maybe he has a blockage of some sort.
You see Demi's eye turn black, and he says,
Denda.
and he looks over at the three of you.
Sorry, what?
Goddess of nightmares. Good friend of mine.
So,
She stole his dream?
If they are particularly terrifying, then she feeds upon it.
Rhal and Emma, sure, they exchange, that glance, and they both kind of, just nod.
Yeah, Ava shrugs, yeah, of course it
Of
would be.
And so I don't remember it because it was, what? Eaten?
Delicious.
Yes, darkness and terrifying visions.
Well, how do I I kind of need that.
Perhaps you'd ask her for it. I certainly wouldn't advise it, though.
Okay. Balance, maybe you should look.
We kind of need... all right. I'm going to assume right now that we're talking to Gruumsh, yes?
He nods.
Okay. That dream is important. And if I try to go in and touch it, I'm most likely going to just attract another Sandman, and I don't want that. Is there a direct line to just getting the dream back?
You're not touching my dream. You're messing with memories of a dream. I don't remember.
But if it got eaten, will you remember it, even if it's suppressed or consumed?
It has been eaten and consumed. There is no memory of it. It is gone.
I can't touch that, Rhal. I could try to make you dream again, and I'm probably going to get attacked by a Sandman if I do.
How do we contact Dagur? Are there clerics or paladins of Dagur around here?
You see him look down at you.
Oh,
Squash is back up at...
Squash is like scowling at him.
He ignores you, looks back up at Laffian and at Rhal, and he says,
You'll not find clerics and paladins here. If you wish to have a hotline to her, you'll find them at the Forge of the World, if there are any left. The Yuan-Ti supported her long ago, but alas, no longer.
Do I know what Yuan-Ti are?
probably not.
Oh, cool.
I mean, you could give a roll on a history, but it'd be super difficult.
I'll try. I mean, maybe at some point Kythea made mention or something. I don't know.
Very unlikely.
History. 18 for history.
It rings no bells at all.
Rhal's true name is Pain in the Ass.
Nothing. Yeah. His true name is Neil being isolating. Gruumsh says,
You could, of course, rely on your mate, Rhal. She seems to have a good grasp of who you are from what I've seen through Demi's eyes.
Aye.
Okay.
At that point, he purposely ignores you too, Laffian.
Okay, Matt, you have to have the dream, I think, because I can't.
I could try. And she just looks
Is that what we mean?
very uncomfortable in front of this presence. I could try. I'll ask Emil before I go, I guess.
Are you gonna have Ama have your dream for you?
I don't know if that's how this works.
I think Gruumsh is
She
implying
shrugs.
more so that you need to have a long conversation where Ama tries to deduce your name for you.
Oh. I think we'll have to find time for that. Maybe after things.
We'll figure it out. And the worst comes to worst, I will just shout everything I have ever called you. And one of them will surely bring you back to me.
And half of them will be pretty good insults.
You're so silly. I mean, you broke me back from the dead. How hard it would be to break you out of a sentinel.
Pain in the ass. Did that work? Did you feel a stirring in your soul?
No.
Yeah, I got nothing then.
Stirring in your soul.
Okay.
Can we have Demi back now?
No.
Why not?
Again, without looking at Squash or at Laffian, Gruumsh says,
She is somewhat occupied with other things. You are not the center of her world.
Okay. We were in the middle of a conversation, but that's fine.
She asked for my help, and I gave it. We cannot switch easily from one to the other. She is here. She can hear you, but she is busy.
Great. Okay. I don't know how to handle this now. Do you want breakfast?
And with that, like, Gruumsh just turns on his heel and walks back to where he was when...
No,
Squash
he's
first
not
went
going
up.
to try to cook it. Don't worry.
Demi has no knowledge of that. Unless you included that in your, hey, this is everything that happened in TLD previously. I think burning the breakfast might have been left out.
I've been learning.
Not yet.
Thank you very much.
Gruumsh goes back to, he goes back to where he was working previously.
Okay, that was really interesting. Good roommate Demi's got there. Real talker.
Detestable.
Make sure he doesn't hear. Is he far enough away? Okay. Yeah, no, absolute asshole. I mean, I know he's probably like omnipotent or omniscient or whatever. I'm surprised he didn't say something about trying to eat me or something like that, but...
Oh yeah, Gruumsh has like a
he doesn't like my
hatred
people.
for elves. Yeah.
That's fine. It's fine. He can go be somewhere else. I don't want to deal with that right now. I had a lovely dream, and I would like to not have my day ruined.
That's good.
He doesn't seem to like anybody, really.
Maybe if he took the stick out of his ass? Sorry. Magic stick. Everything
Like
with the gods has to be magical in some way.
Like a wand.
Maybe we just get Tremple. He'll come here, and Tremple can pull the magic wand out of his ass, and then use that as a weapon. It could be called Gruumsh's magical anal wand.
All right, at this point, you feel a gentle hand on your shoulder, Laffian.
Yes, hello.
And
Who is it?
you turn, and Inverna is standing there with a bemused look on her face, like, what the fuck did I just walk into?
Hi. Well, good to see you.
Do you want to... She kind of, like, takes you in a bear hug, and she kind of, like, gives you a really good hug, and you notice that she has, like, the kind of... very stylized rune of a wolf's head on her neck, which is black and crimson in color. And like as she lets you go, she kind of like looks at the three of you and like, do I even want to know what you guys were talking about?
God stuff, the usual.
Okay.
Gruumsh is here.
Isn't he? He's an orc god, right?
Mm-hmm. He doesn't like us.
Squash just kind of tilts his head towards Demi, or Demi's body.
Way down the hallway.
Gone from view. In the barracks, it's fine.
Do I know what the rune thing?
Out of mind, out of...
Do I know what that is?
You can ask her about it.
I don't know if that's like an elvish
you
thing or
would
not.
recognize. No, you would recognize the rune is like basically a wolf's head with like a blade in its mouth, and you would recognize the styling as something that Damaz has on his his shirt.
Oh, I don't even.
On his
I am pretty sure I'm well aware that is a Zaltanna thing.
Oh yeah, that's a wallet mark if you've ever seen one.
Okay, so he like tilts his head to the side, looks at the mark, and goes, "Really? You?" Just and like he's like gesturing at his own neck, where it would be like, that's a choice.
Not after Talvin, no, not a choice.
Right. Let's go take a walk, shall we? I wanted to talk to you a little bit.
Sure. Catch you guys later. And she kind of like waves at the other two and then goes off at Laffian. All right. So, what do we have outstanding before I can get you all to leave? I assume there's a chat with Ninverna coming.
Uh-huh.
Rhal, is there anything that you want to do before we wrap this episode so I can get you guys going?
No, Rhal's just hesitant to leave Ama.
Oh,
Nothing
okay,
specific.
cute.
They've done all their
Squash.
business.
Yeah, that's true.
She's a badass. Take her with us.
Yeah, I wish. It's
Should
just
I-
that
You could ask her, and that will also lead to interesting results. So, Ninverna walks with you. Basically, you're just walking out of the temple, or are you just walking within it somewhere?
Somewhere private enough, so probably like the main atrium area.
Yeah,
Assuming-
it's large enough. You can Yeah, you can meander around in here and not be massively heard by anyone. You could, of course, like meander into the temple room, or you could meander into like the meeting room. Like, there's plenty of places you could walk inside the temple itself.
Okay.
So, how are you doing?
Oh, world saving, stuff like that. Only nearly died a few times.
Yeah, been there. Did you at least get your name figured out okay?
Oh, they told you about that?
Yeah. I was trying to speak with Zaltanna and Amy told me about it.
Yeah, I was able to find mine out.
That's good.
It's
So, what...
It's not a surprise, honestly. Well, for me it was a surprise, but at the same time not. True name's a weird thing.
Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about?
Laughing gets like a really pained expression on his face and just... I saw him, you know.
Your father? Your brother?
Talvin.
Oh. And she kind of like looks down and you can see that her hands are just kind of like balled into fists.
When we had to go through the mirror, I got to see him.
Oh.
He was about as much of a pain in the ass as usual.
Kind of not very helpful, still doing the teacher thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You kind of see her like half smile.
He was very sorry about, well, what happened to him. But, and Lafayette just, like, reaches into the bag of holding and pulls out the ring that Talvin had given him.
Uh-huh.
And just holds it out to her and just, he wanted me to give this to you.
She stops and, like, she looks at it. Thank you.
I just wish I could have given it to you sooner.
It's the end of the world, Lafayette. We only have the time we have, and we just have to make use of what we can when we can. Seriously, thank you for giving this to me.
It was the least I can do. I firmly believe that there should be closure for those that need it.
That's going to come when the blissful eclipse are in pieces for me. And even then, I'm not sure that will be enough.
Well, I will do my best to at least fulfill that much. I feel like as they're talking, he's probably like leading her towards the fountain in the center of the atrium.
Yeah.
And just like they stop there and he's just, oh, I noticed something.
Yeah? What's that?
He slyly like wiggles his fingers a little bit and goes, look, Ninverna, there's a fish in the water. And there's like a little illusionary goldfish in the fountain.
You see her smile and you feel there is magic brewing next to you, and then it instantly drops and she just pulls you into a very, very tight hug.
Oh. He gives her a hug back.
Can I ask where Squash is at this moment?
I think he's probably...
Is he still in the atrium?
Yeah, he's probably hanging close to Rhal, I would imagine.
Okay, great. Then you will be able to hear this because of your ridiculous perception. She lets go and she says, there's, so I spoke with Zaltanna and Damaz and I are going to, I think I found where the cult of the blissful eclipse was started. I think there's a place. I think I know where it is. I got persuaded someone to give me information. It's too dangerous for me to go in alone, but Damaz said he'd come with me.
I feel a lot better knowing that much, at least.
Yeah, me too, actually. He seems like a nice guy. Maybe I can keep him out of trouble too. I know he's got plans that seem to be kind of dangerous. Don't we all? Yeah.
Are you going to go take them
So
out?
we're gonna...
In a blaze of bloody
Actually-
vengeance, I assume?
Yes. Yeah, but I also was thinking about you. If it is a place where it started, you might be able to find something there that's useful. And if I just burn it to the ground, we might miss something. So I told Zaltanna I'd tell her when we were there. And either go in guns blazing if you guys are too busy, or wait for you to come find us.
Where is this place?
It's a place slightly south of Kuzak, place called the Baranya.
Am I familiar?
You can roll a history check, and at this point I also want Squash to roll a history check.
Squash, what are you listening to?
Shh, stop screaming.
Shh, I don't know what they're talking about either.
What am I rolling?
I think it's
History?
super important.
Yeah.
History, please.
Not as good.
Squash will be at advantage.
12.
That's advantage.
You are at advantage.
All right. History. I am pretty bad at it. So.
With a 12, it sounds like a region just south of Kuzak in that kind of really big foresty area, but like its specific location, you might have heard of it, but it's like one of those passing tales. Like I could say the word Southwick or Fisher's Gate or West Sussex, and you may have heard that once or twice in conversations with me. Like, yeah.
We never actually went there on the way to Cusack, so yeah.
No, absolutely not. No, not at all.
Squash rolled a 20 with advantage.
You think you've been there?
Would that be... That's not the town where
You think you remember a dwarf named Salt. S-O-L-T.
What? This is not in my notes.
I discussed with you on Facebook and chatting with you IRL a little bit. So Salt is the dwarf that taught you the beginnings of Thieves' Cant.
Why do I have no memory of this?
Don't know your own
We talk a lot of
backstory.
shit about Squash. No, this is something he and I discussed afterwards.
I'm sorry.
Salt is a dwarf who taught you the rudimentaries. It's okay. We talk about a lot of shit. Salt is a dwarf who taught you the rudimentaries of Thieves' Cant. It's what most of your Thieves' Cant is based on today, thanks to that dwarf.
Right.
You believe he came from a town called... There you go. You believe he came from a town called the Baranya, and you passed through it when you were with Dachin the first time.
Yeah. All right.
Now you remember.
Yep.
I'm not terribly familiar with the place, but I think I've heard of it. See, you think that they're there?
I think that's where it might have started. I think there's something more there than just the village. And I think I found the entrance, but it was really well guarded, and it was just me, and as much as I wanted to rip everybody's heart out one at a time, a dead me is not a vengeful me. It's a dead me. So
Didn't know there was a spell in your repertoire. Remind me not to cross you then. He's just smiling at her.
I learned a lot when I was in the other realm. She shrugs.
Right.
Well, I just stayed awake. Well, I put off my meditation so I could chat with you. So Damas and I are going to head off now.
Keep us posted. If we are able to help and do some digging, then I think that definitely could be of use.
Okay.
Just try to... He pauses for a second, and then he actually is going to take the bracelet off that Talvin had given him.
Yeah.
And he gives it to her and just vengeance is good, I think, for some people, but try to remember the Inquisitor side of things as well. Don't destroy everything if we can't make it.
I think that tiny part of me, and she kind of does that thing where she puts her fingers up so they're really close to each other but not touching. I think that's what stopped me going in there first time.
Maybe he'll respond to you with this then. Maybe he'll guide your hand. I used to be able to at least occasionally send a message his way, but maybe the message will go to him on the other side with you. And he just very specifically puts the bracelet on her.
Stay safe. I don't know what you're doing, Laffian, and apparently I'm not supposed to know, but you four stay safe, okay?
No promises, but we'll try.
She gives you like a really big hug, and she kind of like waves to the others, and she and Damaz, after Damaz like waves goodbye to the three of you, the pair of them take off.
He calls out to Damaz as they're walking away, just, please take care of her. I don't want to have to be the next one seeking vengeance, but I will if I have to.
You hear him like half chuckling as he walks on. You don't know if he's taking you seriously or not.
I'm very dangerous when I'm seeking vengeance.
The first paladin of vengeance having to seek vengeance against himself. Just the irony is not lost on him.
I'll pray for vengeance.
Yeah.
So Zaltanna just gets in his ear. I'm gonna have to ask you to lose this one.
Hey everyone, it's V here. I just want to do a quick little outro before I get to the main part of the outro today. I want to say thank you to Dagur for voicing Gruumsh. I've had Dagur in mind for Gruumsh since I decided that Gruumsh would be in the story, and he came over the weekend. He recorded literally everything between here and the very end of where we've currently recorded. So I want to say a big thank you to Dagur. He does a beautiful job at Gruumsh. I also want to say thank you to our patrons, Darian, Alan and Daniel McIntosh. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate your support. If you want to help us in other ways, there are ways that you can do that by going on to any of your podcaster apps and leaving us a review. It helps to boost those like algorithm gods. They appreciate that sacrifice and it helps more people get to see it and understand what our show is about by seeing what other people actually think of it. So if you guys want to go and do that, we would really appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so on to the main part of what I need to do today. I want to say a big shout out and thank you to Realms of Peril and Glory. The Realms of Peril and Glory, they are a new actual play podcast, and I listened to their first episode earlier today, and it is beautiful. I often struggle personally listening to a podcast where the voices are very similar, or the character voices are similar, or they're goofing around too much. No, this is funny and heartwarming, and it's absolutely wonderful. Much like us, we also, like, if you didn't know, Neil scores everything in-house for us, but they do that for the entirety of their episode. They score the whole thing. There is also a lot of, like, the sound effects of the things and building the ambience and the environment around them. They had a lot of that going in there as well, and it really works well with the DM, who just creates this beautiful description of what each of the places look like and the characters, and it's fantastic. I cannot up it enough, really. Season 1 is like this kind of mystery thriller drama kind of thing set in this place called New Harbor, which has magic and monsters and machines. Huzzah! It's wonderful. They release an episode every week. They have a little bit of a backlog which they released in their first go, and it's definitely well worth a listen. They have Magnus Archives alumni, they have Alba Salix alumni, they also have folks from Wooden Overcoats. It is awesome. I highly recommend it. You can find them by going to your podcast catchery things and by searching Realms of Peril and Glory, or you can find their website, www.lightandtragic.com. Yep, lightandtragic.com/Listen RPG. It's from the folks who made Orphans, if you're aware of them. That is also another wonderful show, and this has the same quality to it. If you want to listen to a new actual play that I am beginning to love the snot out of, this is the guys you want to go to. All right, folks, you have a good week. Bye.
Welcome one and welcome all.
Welcome to Realms of Peril and Glory.
Welcome back to Realms of Peril and Glory.
Welcome back to Realms of Peril and Glory.
Realms of Peril and Glory features familiar voices from the orphans.
This coming from the poet who slept with a siren in the last city.
The Magnus Archives.
Well, it's very complicated. Let me explain.
Wooden overcoats.
I can't believe this is where you're taking this.
I rolled a natural 20!
Yes! The How We Roll podcast.
My goal is to start burrowing through to where his brain is.
Victoriosity.
Oh, wait, I've got something for this.
The Call of Cthulhu Mystery Program.
I slap him on the belly. You know what you did.
Facing Fate.
All we need is this stick and the blood of an innocent.
We fix space junk.
Prepare to be smitten by Himbercules.
Would you describe yourself as a thick fairy?
Tin Can Audio.
I'm so sorry I decapitated your head.
Stellar Firma.
Oh god, why did I decide to do this?
And many more. Realms of Peril and Glory launches on August 18th with 3 brand new episodes. Don't forget to head on over and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search Realms of Peril and Glory.